Hey, welcome everybody. Yeah, this is the Game of Money podcast with Oren Klaff. I'm here with Liana Zavo, who is an expert in the one thing that I don't know anything about. And I know what you're thinking. That's carburetors. Carburetors are a black science. So if you know anything about cars, when they don't come with carburetors anymore, they come with fuel injection and now they're electric vehicles. But there's like this black art of carburetors, which mixes fuel and gas in a perfect amount mechanically for an engine. And nobody knows how they work except for dying off old mechanics. And I feel the same way about PR, which is the thing that you know. It's like nobody knows anything about PR except for dying off John Caples, Al Rise, the guys who use the David Ogilvy, the legends of advertising and PR know how this stuff works, and nobody else does. And they've either died or dying. And here comes Liana out of nowhere going, I'm an expert in PR. I know how this black uh, magic work. I feel like people really know PR, and then the intro will be done eventually. But I feel like people really know PR are like, if they were born in the 1400s, they'd be burned as a witch. She's a witch. Burn her. She knows PR. She can make money and deals and traffic come out of nowhere without paying for it. She's a witch. So tell me, bring me into the world of PR, how it actually works. It's something I'm terrible at, which is fine. I'm terrible at a lot of things. But everybody else I know who's in my business of getting traffic, getting attention, getting awareness is also terrible at it. That's why Google gets, of its $66 billion of revenue, gets $48 billion from AdWords, from advertising. Nobody else knows how PR works. So step in here, clear up this mess for us.
Oren, thank you so much for having me. It's an honor. And I'm Liana Zavo. I'm the founder of Zavo Media PR Group, publicist, strategist. I excel in personal branding. And there's a lot of different type of PR. There's PR for products, services, face behind the brand. I excel in the face behind the brand. And I think that it's important to know how to navigate your story. And a lot of people don't know how to tell their story. So the art of storytelling is crucial in PR. So again, PR has a lot of different categories. And what I excel in is that specific is the art of storytelling.
Excellent. So this is blowing my mind because I don't know how to tell my own story. Like I do a lot of things and it lacks focus. But hear me out. If a company comes in here and they pitch me a deal, and listen to this oxymoron or dichotomy or confusion. If a company comes in here to my facility and they pitch me a deal, what the first thing that I tell them is this: it lacks focus. Yet, as I do all my own stuff and communicate to the outside world, it lacks focus. So why is there this pit that people who know what to don't know how to do this on the personal side?
Because they're afraid to tell their story authentically. They're afraid that they can be judged, perhaps, because PR, it's an emotional connection to your audience. You're connecting emotionally with your audience because you want them to feel you. So it's not advertising. Advertising is plastering your face on a billboard. There's no connection with the audience. People know you paid for that. When it comes to PR and telling your story, it's that connection that you want to humanize a connection between the audience, the target audience, and your story so that they can relate to you and resonate with you on a deeper level. So that's where I have to come in and unveil that like an onion.
Okay, who does this badly? If you look out across the Trump, Harris, celebrity, Al Pacino, and I have some pet peeves with people. Al Pacino, I'll start with Robert Downey Jr., Brad Pitt, Jennifer Aniston. You can see, I don't know any modern stars, but look out at the landscape, politics and entertainment that we can all relate to. Who messes this up as badly as it can be messed up?
You know what? I can't relate to any of them, I'll be honest with you. I don't represent celebrities. I would say Martha Stewart has a really great personal brand. She
Hold on, let's get to who's great in a minute. Let's find, in order to know good, you must first know evil. Who does this poorly where you're like, if I had that guy as a client, I would fix everything. So I have a guy who works, I had a big accident injury in CrossFit, and I have a guy who works on me. And he comes in every day, he's, oh my God, I watched the NFL game. This player got injured. They put him back. If I worked on him, he'd stay in the game homes. He wouldn't get injured all the time. He wouldn't be throwing funny. They should just give him to me. So I think who is your, as you look out there, you're like, oh, that's totally messed up. If
Yeah.
I had that as a client, right? And by the way, I'll go get them for you as a client.
Jennifer Lopez, I think she needs major PR.
Oh my God, what a mess. Yeah. Great. I love this. Jennifer Lopez is, to me, probably lives in this ivory tower, and she has 11 people below her who connect her to reality. And I understand that. If I go out to dinner, I have to wear a low hat and a dark jacket and like huddle over my food. If somebody comes up and they're like, hey, Oren, I don't want to steal the thunder here, but just give me 10 seconds. I was at an event at the Ritz Carlton in Newport, and I came out, I didn't have my tie on because I drove up. I go to the bathroom. True story. I start putting my tie on, and two guys walk up and they go, what are you doing? I go, I'm putting my tie on. They're like, you're doing a horrible job. I'm like, yeah, I hardly ever wear ties, but it's an event. I'm giving an award. And they go, hold, they go, I know that voice. I know you. I'm like, you don't know me. And they're like, you're Oren Klaff. And then so they stick their head out the door, call two other guys. So now there's four guys in the bathroom of the Ritz Carlton, and they start pointing their fingers at me. And they're like, this is Oren Klaff. Again, not my language, theirs. And then they grab me and kidnap me in the Ritz Carlton and take me to their part of the hotel and put me down there. And so it's scary because they kidnapped me. But so I get recognized a lot in public to the point of getting kidnapped. And you're like, that's a weird story. It's happened to me 3 times. I've been kidnapped in public by people who are so passionate about the brand. I know it happens to other people. I know what it's like having to not want to be in public. And I'm nobody. I'm a Z level celebrity. If there's below Z. Imagine for Jennifer Aniston, she's not really connected to what's happening out there. Sorry, that was a long aside. That said, what do you think are the circumstances that's causing her brand to be discombobulated?
Yeah, Jennifer Lopez, I would say, is all over the place, and that she needs to niche down. There's a lot that celebrities do to attract awareness, and I think that with her latest story on Netflix that she has done about her love story, and she turned that into a video production, and she got her husband on there, Ben Affleck. I think the fact that she has to involve every time her ex-husband now, I think that in itself did her a huge like crisis. Like it was a reputation crisis for her because he spoke against what she did, and I think that showcasing so much in front of the audience and not keeping things behind the scenes. So I would say that if she were to be a little bit more discreet with her story and not air out her laundry, I think that in itself would save her a lot. And she niching down is ideal. And I think that in itself would have done her a lot more of a service.
Got it. Okay, I agree. So that's done poorly, and now Martha Stewart has done really well. So by contrast, Martha Stewart went to jail. She got convicted for whatever tax fraud, and so she got out, and she did. What are the things she did that brought her back into the mainstream in a favorable eye?
She was very authentic about her story, and then the fact that she had a great comeback. She had setbacks, but the comeback is what really people resonate with, and that she did it in a very authentic way. She didn't shy away from making a mistake. You need to acknowledge you made a mistake. You need to take accountability for that. If you don't take accountability, like Jennifer Lopez, for example, she thinks she never makes a mistake. People can't really connect with you. They look down, right? She looks down on a lot of people. I feel like she can't resonate with people on an emotional level, as opposed to Martha Stewart. She resonates. She's a celebrity in her own right, but she also doesn't act like a snobby celebrity. I met her a few times, and I think that she does an amazing job portraying her personal brand in a very authentic way, and she connects with people emotionally.
That makes sense. All right, now, obviously, most of the people listening to this, not most, 100%, Ben Affleck, Jennifer Lopez, Al Pacino, Martha Stewart are not listening to this. Who's listening to this is big dummy Oren Klaff fans, big dummy Liana Zavo fans who are way lower down on the, not humanistically lower, not ethically lower, not lower from values, families aren't lower, but on the social status framework that our society runs on. There's a lot of us back here that breathe like are lower on the social status awareness curve. Rather than saying they and us, what if you just pick on me and going, Oren, here is your big dumminess summed up into 3 points, And here's where I think things you should stop doing and things you should start doing, just from what little I know about you.
Yeah. First of
I'll,
all,
I'll give you a starter kit. Stop
okay.
swearing. Doesn't help. Doesn't make anybody happy. Those words just fly out of nowhere. I think I'm being cool with it. The cool kid. It's a way of lording over audiences, and it needs to stop. So I'll give this is the PR starter kit for Oren Klaff is hold your tongue and your temper, and to stop and shorter, and get a better haircut, and be nicer to your guests. You're not writing all this down. I'm giving you the answers to the.
It's
Okay,
all
go
in
ahead.
here. I
You,
am
you, you take over.
take notes in my mind. Absolutely. Oren, I love your book. I resonate with your book. And there are a lot of pointers that you pointed out in there that I really actually took upon myself to and utilize them day in and day out. But when I looked at your personal brand on LinkedIn and I took a look at your social media, obviously the communication has to be cohesive throughout all social media platforms. That's one way of portraying your storytelling. And I think that what I would say you can tweak is more video content. You do a lot of graphics, which is great, but you don't come on and just speak to your audience and kind of talk about what you face throughout your day, your challenges, something that just happened to you, something that is not rehearsed. People want to connect with you on an emotional level. And I think that in itself, I think video content is what you're missing.
1 second. I'm getting a notebook to write down everything. I know we're recording it and I get the transcript from the bot, but nothing is better than writing it down in real time. All right. Let me write down the first piece of advice from Lana. Oren, you suck. All right. I got that one. No, I run into this myself. So people read the book, right? And then they go online and they see a different character from the one in the book. And I want to bring those two closer together because it frustrates people. They meet a character in the book, they have a vision of it, and then they meet my online stuff, which is filtered quite so for perspective. Just in the last year, I built a company that's now worth $200 million. We're working on taking it public for $1 billion. I've got 300 investors in it. Like I do the stuff in the book daily, effectively. So I don't have time at the end of the day when I want to spend with my little boy and my family to do a bunch of packaging. So there's quite a few people on my team who get the content that aren't me, and they do a world-class job of putting it out there, but it's not the same character that's in the book because that's really me. So how do I bring that closer? That is a big problem. You have a book or you have a principal piece of video or your movie, and then there's the daily version of you that's hard to package in the same way. How do you bring those closer?
Yeah, so I would say that you have to start off with your personal brand, which is crucial. And it stands on three pillars: authenticity, transparency, consistency.
Yeah,
You do have the consistency. You do post a lot. I see that. But the consistency does not resonate with your story. What you're
right.
posting does not teach the audience. You bring a lot of value in your book. There's a lot of value, obviously. But that value does not translate into your social media. People cannot just go on there and say, all right, listen, I just listened to Oren and he just pointed out 3 pointers like on how to take my business and how to pitch or speak to investors. So I would say that what you have mentioned in the book, just convert that into videos, just little pointers. I think that in itself will just drastically change the landscape of how you're perceived as a thought leader. That's essentially what you want to be, a thought leader, and that's who you are, an expert. And then get into publications. I think that there's no, I don't know if you, I mean, I've Googled you. I think there's one or two press about you, but there's nothing really consistent about you. Like the press is speaking about you, like someone is really validating your stories. Who is
So
speaking about you?
to be fair, by the way, when you talk to Liana, what should happen is they should have one of those. If you're thinking about harming yourself, call 1-800. You're going to get honest feedback. If you're thinking about self-harm, call 1-800-555-1212 because she will give you, you have to have asbestos underwear to have this conversation. Somebody to really tell, what a true reflection. And in our business, like when I pitch or negotiate, so the reality is I will control a negotiation because I do the stuff in Pitch Anything. and that's been refined over the years. And I'm a very, what I would say, strong force, 10 out of 10 in negotiation, and it's overpowering. So I will take all your money, is what I'm trying to say. And so what I try and do in a negotiation, as you're saying, is give truth. The problem is, especially if you're negotiating an employee contract or you're negotiating with where a person's personality or character is involved with the product, now you're buying a car, what I try and do is give as much truth as they can handle, because you can over truth people, and that's where the power really comes from. And they can't handle the truth, and it melts them down, and they feel like you're being a jerk. But we all know the truth, but we're afraid of giving it because of the reaction that people have. I think for me, the key is, with being in the media, is giving the amount of truth to people about themselves that they can handle. And so what happens, and that's waters it down, because I bring that truth for what I think is the lowest common denominator. We don't want to alienate women and children and elderly. And this is not just pitch for Navy SEALs, it's pitch for everybody. So I try and water it down a bit. And I think that's where everybody gets trapped in. I want to make it horizontal and applicable to everybody, but I want to make it rich and deep enough for the people who really care to fall more in love. And so any thoughts on how to navigate the breadth? So riches in the niches, niche down, extreme focus. But every time we do that, we feel like we're giving away a segment of the audience. And I'm sure movies deal with this, right? So if you make a romantic comedy that's for everybody, then you really water down like your ability to have a breakthrough movie. If you really want to do a breakthrough movie like Game of Thrones, TV show like Game of Thrones, you're going to leave behind a lot of people who the language and the gratuitous violence is not for. So in your mind, how do you navigate going broad and trying to capture everybody, and going focused and deep, trying to really speak to a resonant audience?
I'm going to go back to consistency, and 89% of brands align with other brands by video production. So if you have videos, then
Yeah.
you will have that alignment. So that's a big number. 89% of brands want to see videos. If you can do videos, I would say 3 to 4 a week, whether it be going live and just speaking about what's on your mind, or just bringing more value to your audience. Again, you're a thought leader in your space. That in itself will change your narrative. Right off the bat, you'll see how people will resonate with you on a different level. You'll have more engagement.
All right. So I'm on it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to follow your advice, and we're going to reconnect in a month. We got the holidays coming up, and we're traveling. We're going to Japan.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Have you been to
I was in
Japan?
Singapore a few months ago. I was speaking at the business show, and beautiful. Asia is so beautiful.
Excellent. So we're going there, and then we have the holidays to deal with. But by January 30th,
Yeah.
I will have followed these instructions, and
Hmm.
something will have happened. My
Good.
follower list will either have gone down to one, which is my mom, or it will have grown. One of two things will have happened. So we're going to see which one. Now, so to dig deeper into that, publications. I've been published in Harvard Business Review, in Inc., in Advertising Age, in NPR, the laundry list of media I've been published in. I don't stay consistent with it. Harvard Business Review, like that's as good as you can get, but I don't continually cycle through media. So how do I drop this brand, or how does somebody, I'm just using me because I can gauge the advice, whether it's realistic or not. If we talk about Jennifer Lopez, I'm like, I just have to believe you. But so how does somebody, or what would I do to get into published media without having to spend half my day of every day working on that drama?
Definitely need to invest time. I would say take LinkedIn. So this is for professionals, corporate professionals that I represent. I would say the first thing is make sure that you answer those questions on LinkedIn. LinkedIn always gives you those questions as in what's your expertise. So a lot of times you'll see that you'll gain media attention from just answering those questions. And when you post that, you'll gain people, like you'll just have more visibility, and you'll have like BBC News out of nowhere. You know what? Actually, really what you stated about so and so. That's what happened to me when during the time of NFTs, there was like 16% of women were underrepresented, and I wrote something about it, and then BBC News came at me and wanted to feature my story. So
Yes.
it's all about just being on top of your thought leadership again and stay true to yourself. And authenticity is key, and get back onto LinkedIn. Again, LinkedIn is really underrated, but it is king. It's like the best way to get your visibility out there.
Awesome. And can a PR firm, and can I replace time with money is the question. That's the question I always ask. Like, time costs me time, which I have none of because I have a little boy. What does your family look like over there? What's happening? You're in New York?
I am in New York, yes.
Yeah. So what does your family look like there? Do you have a support system, or you just running wild commando solo?
I have an 18-year-old son.
Oh, okay, awesome. Yeah, here's what happens. I ask people like, "Hey, do you have any kids?" And then they don't. They'll do one thing like, "Thank God I never had any kids. Like I'm a free spirit and I've led an actualized life, unlike your poor miserable self." So they'll say that, or they'll say, "Oh," and it just can. They're like, "Yeah, we always thought, but never." I don't like to say, "Do you have kids?"
Oh,
Because
I
it
see.
leads down either too happy, it leads to a criticism of my life, or to sadness. But it, or sometimes they go, "Yeah, I got three great kids." So you have a son. What does he do?
He's in college,
What, not where, but what does he study?
law.
Law. Okay, awesome. Let's sue somebody. That's I've been telling my son since he was 4. I will sue you if you do that again. Lawyers are important to the thing. So you got a son, and does he play any sports?
He does play sports. He loves basketball, but he's
Basketball.
also an entrepreneur at heart. Like he started, I made sure that he started. I'm a single mom. So when he was 10 years old, I told him, look, I can give you $1, I can give you two, but I'm a single mom and you have to go and make something out of yourself. He has an entrepreneur spirit, and he decided to fix cell phones. He invested his time into learning how to fix cell phones, and he's been running a shop for the past 5 years how to and fix the cell phones, which is
That's
really
awesome.
successful. Yeah.
That's awesome. Great. Yeah, I'm going to. So based on what you said, and don't take this the wrong way, but I'm going to send you my son for like a year and see what happens, because that stinker. All right. But the reason I said that is I have to spend time with my family. So my son plays hockey. We live in Southern California. Other than like Saudi Arabia, it's like where you should not pick hockey. It's really hard for us to get ice time and hockey, but he plays hockey in the desert. I just have to spend a lot of time with him. And so I don't have time. I'm also building a company, running a business. Now I'm making 4 goddamn videos a week because my friend Liana told me that I was messing up royally and I need to fix my system. So now I have one more thing to do, make videos. So I have no time. How can I replace getting into media, magazine, into the popular flow of conversation without having to use my own time? And I understand if you don't have time, the only other thing that you have to barter is money.
Hire a right
Yes.
publicist.
So how can I hire a publicist? Okay. I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't know any publicists. I wish I knew one, but
Yeah, we cater. I'm nationwide and I'm also global in 12 countries. And I think that you can't do everything on your own, right? You have to delegate. And so the best way to delegate is to have a publicist who can walk you through this, hold your hand basically, and tell you exactly what needs to be done.
and what's the possibility with a publicist? I know you're on the Forbes Council. I have a friend who had the Forbes guys write a book and do publicity for him, and it was like, whew, it rocketed up. And
Mhm.
what comes up must go
Down.
down. Correct. So now he's right back where he started. They did a great job. They can't do it forever. So how do you pick up? And so I have my books, I have my brand, and but what can reasonably expected that I could do to get into publications, or me or anybody?
Without hiring a publicist on your own?
No, by hiring a publicist.
First of all, I think the best thing to do is announce you. A major press release will be ideal for you nationwide. So you just said that your company is going, it made a couple of $1 million, right? I'm not sure you just said you have a couple investors. I think that in itself,
100 million, but that's okay. Couple
Okay.
million, couple 100 million, billion, add it all up, pretty soon
I
money.
love that. So announcing it in the press, I think that in itself, a press release is crucial because you want to showcase your credibility. That in itself gives you recognition for what you have done and attracts more investors. You want to attract more investors because you have that credibility source.
And I'm like a 25-year-old where they will go, I only want to go on good dates. They don't want to go on dates to try and find what's good and what's not. When I do publicity, it's I only want to be in New York Times or above or Fox News and above.
Mm.
And my guess is I have to start at the San Diego Business Journal Halloween special edition on sandcastles for the elderly and infirm and recently died. I have to go into that publication to start somewhere, but I want to go immediately to Advertising Age. Oh, by the way, I've been published in Advertising Age. And I want to go to the Hollywood Reporter. Oh, by the way, I've been published in the Hollywood Reporter. So I've been in all these places. And so I don't really want to start with the Wichita Falls Senior Citizen Free Circular, even though I know I probably have to.
And you don't actually, because it depends on your proven track record. If you're already seasoned and media has talked about you, the thing about publicists, we have to make sure that the angle that we're trying to pitch you has to resonate with a journalist. Depending on
Nice.
what has been already in the media, we take that angle, we change it up. We have to make sure that it resonates, and then we pitch you. So you don't need to start from the bottom.
Okay, this is awkward right now, but will you just marry me? No. If my wife listened to these podcasts, she'd be super pissed, but the good news is she doesn't. No, this sounds amazing. This sounds amazing. All right. So for people listening in as we round the corner, and most people are running, if you think about the people listening to me, they're running 5 to $25 million businesses, or they're working solo as an entrepreneur, really doing amazing stuff in a small sort of $1-2 million business that's feeding themselves, or they're executives in something that's 25 to 250 million. And so of those three groups, like they just like my brother works in a startup with a couple hundred people in it, and he would just like to have more visibility within that firm. What are the three things Joe Bag of Donuts listening in should just start today just to get more visibility on them, even though it's not directly connected to their revenue? Like visibility on me affects my revenue immediately. Books sell, investors come in, people buy products from my companies. And so one more person creates a lot of revenue stream for me. That's why I invest a lot of time and money in it. But for the proletariat, let them eat cake. What should they be doing just as a matter of course, just to get more visibility on their career?
I would say again, video. Oren, I
Video.
can't
Okay.
stress it enough. I'll be honest with you. A lot of people shy away from video. They're just afraid that they are going to be judged. They don't look good enough. Their story will be sabotaging them, and they're not true to themselves, or they're just very mechanical and they talk like today. It's not emotionally connected to the audience. So I think that no matter how much money you have to your company, you need to just start speaking to your audience
Yeah.
and give as much value. The value proposition is what people are missing. What is that value you want to bring on to others? What do you want your audience to walk away with? That is the number one online. The next thing I would say is to make sure that your branding, what is that branding that you're trying to portray, your messaging, right? So working on your messaging is ideal as well. The mission statement. And I have a whole course that I teach. It's a 7-week personal branding course where I literally walk you through exactly what to do and to get your name out there.
Awesome. And so how do we get into this course? If you're listening to this and you're like, Liana, take me to paradise with my personal brand and
Yeah.
everything like that.
So
Where do
for
we
yeah,
get involved with that?
here it is. This is the personal brand guide and journal. Okay. It's on Amazon. You can get it. And there are action steps, tips that you can actually follow along. The first thing you should do is get that on Amazon. And then if you want for me to actually get down to 7 weeks with you, then you make an appointment and we'll find a way to get a consultation or something along on the calendar so that I can find a way how I can help you. But I think that you should first get this book, this brand, this guide and journal where you know exactly what is expected of you.
So here's what I'm going to do. I am going to, even though I'm super busy, as soon as you hang up on me, which I know you're getting ready to do, I see your hand hovering over the dump button. I'm going to go to Amazon. I'm going to buy the journal. I'm going to do it diligently. And then I'm going to send my work to you. And then we're going to connect. And then we were going to pay you. And then you're going to fix all the mistakes I made. And the mistakes will start on page 1, line 1. I'm aware of that, but at least I got to do the work. So I'm going to do the work, send it to you. And then you'll go, all right, we got to fix this. And then you're going to fix it for me.
You got it.
All right.
I love it. It's easy.
Awesome. And so I'm going to that experiment. But if I can go to Amazon and do it, then if you're listening to me, quick plug here, then you can do it, because everybody I meet needs this. And I think that's the trick. It's everybody needs to tell their story better. I do it specifically for companies. I don't care what the CEO's story is. I don't care. We have CEOs come in here. They're depressed. They have very strong accents. They are slovenly when the way they dress and present themselves. I don't care. Like, I give them the pitch, and then the pitch so the company has a story, the deal has a story, the economics have a story, and I know that process very well, and I've helped companies raise money when they couldn't talk to anybody before, because the combination of a bad personal story and a bad company story is just a bunker buster. It just doesn't go anywhere. But the side I can fix is the company pitch. But if those people would just come in with their own origin story that makes sense. A lot of times people are like, hey, I love the company, I love the story, but I don't understand, like, where did you come from? And then there'll be a lot of times to be like, I was at the Shanghai University and I did my PhD in nuclear physics, atomic physics, and then a double PhD in laserography. I won the Nobel Prize for laser physics. You're like you didn't, what, and then Berkeley hired me, and I teach nuclear physics, but I'm also a marathon runner, and I hold the record at Berkeley for the fastest 400-meter sprint in the 40 category. You're like, why am I pulling this out of you?
I'm supposed to Google you, and that should just show up.
So the origin story of who you are and the thing you're selling have to combine, in my experience. And when both those things combine, that's why I work so hard at it. I joke about my brand and everything, but really well known, and people know when they come here. But I always looking to improve it, because the closer your origin story is to the thing you're doing, the better people snap into your worldview. The more they snap into the worldview, the more they rely on you for giving them perspective. The more they rely on you for giving them perspective, the more they are on board with whatever you're doing commercially. So I can tell you this company that we're building with, of the, say, $50 million that we have in it, most of the people in it don't really understand our technology that well. They understand the product a little bit. What they understand is me. Like, they've given me the money to manage. And so I've done a good job marrying that origin story, market presence, and the business story, but always looking to improve. That's why I'm here with you.
I always say, look, when people want to learn more about me, I think the best thing, the way to just say, just Google me. And I know when people Google me, they'll see exactly what I do for my clients. I have to do for myself.
I run into this. So I'll get on a phone call with people and they go, hey, tell me a little bit about yourself. I'm like, hey man, like, you haven't read Pitch Anything? And they're like, no. If I was going on a call with someone and to talk to them about helping them raise $20 million or changing the scope of their business, the trajectory of their business, the lens through which their entire life runs. If I was going on that call and that idiot had 2 or 3 books on Amazon that I could buy used for $2.32 or new for $18, and I could get Amazon to deliver it like today, I would be doing that. And the fact that you haven't done that shows me that you're probably just poking your nose in this stuff and looking for free education and not taking yourself seriously. Why don't you come back when you could take yourself seriously?
100%. And there's another thing, actually, I want to ask you, and I don't think I saw. Did you do an Audible for your book?
I do have an Audible. So Audible and my publisher, McGraw-Hill, had a fight, and they stabbed each other with a knife and mortally wounded each other. And so they broke up. My Audible is now somewhere else, but yeah, I have one of the world's best Audibles, but in some markets it's not available. Let me find it for you.
Yeah.
All right.
And
But
you're the one who actually is the author?
I'm the author. I'm
Oh,
the
I love
reader.
it.
I'm
Uh,
the I'm the voice for the Audible.
I
That is
love
one of
that.
the most loved assets in America, other than the Dallas Cowboys, and it's jammed up between McGraw-Hill and Audible. And so I'm going to go after this call and uncork this situation. But yeah, there's an amazing Audible that's a much loved book.
And also, is there a second one coming out? Because I know this book was like a few years back.
Yes, there's a second book coming out. There's a third book. Like Stephen King didn't just write The Stand and then just try and sell that out of the trunk of his car for the next 40 years. He kept writing books. I didn't really do that well, but there is additional books.
You have so much wealth of knowledge. I literally read your book when I was flying to Singapore. That was my way of just getting over that flight. But that
Bro,
was
I have a wealth of knowledge. All right, here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna go buy your book from Amazon right now. I'm gonna send you the purchase receipt. I'm gonna start doing the homework. I'm gonna send it to you, and then you will begin the fixing of Oren Klaff. In the meantime, please go to Liana's website, Google her, buy this book. This has been a really valuable conversation for me. You definitely added value.
Thank you, Oren. Thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for
Thanks for
having me.
coming. All right. Yep. Bye-bye.